So this is a new question coming in front of us. Problem number 377, combination sum 4. It's a medium mark problem, 7,200 upwards, more than that, in fact. And previously, as has been asked in Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, all the big tech, you can see it has been asked. It's a very fundamental question. And if you have already solved the pattern of coin change, this should be relatively a cakewalk, although it has been marked medium. You have been given an array of distinct integers. Everything is different. Okay, all integers are different. And a target integer target. Return the number of possible combinations that adds up to the target. You have to figure out how many such combinations are there that add up to the target. And you can see in a combination, you can take one element more than once. For example, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is also 4. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is also 4. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is also 4, and so on. So you have to give the count. Okay. You can see the length of the array can be as big as 200. The target can be as big as 1000. All the elements are unique. Okay. So if you carefully see, you have 1, 2, 3. These are the elements. What's the final sum that you have to make? The final sum, the target that you have to make is 4. So what we can do is, you can think about the problem in two ways. You can start from 0 and then reach 4, right? You can start from 0, then maybe add 1 to it, then maybe add 2 to it, then maybe add 3 to it, then again add 1 to it, 2 to it, and 3 to it, and so on. Or you can start from 4 and reach 0 by subtracting. Anything should work fine. Anything should ideally work fine for us. Okay. It's relatively easier to think from target to 0. That means, let's say 4 is something that you want to achieve. So you can say that in how many ways from 4 you can go to 0. So before moving forward in the video, if you're somebody who is actually looking to learn Spring Boot and want to develop a career in backend development in Java, then you are at the absolutely right place. So now we have actually launched the second iteration of our Spring Boot cohort, where we are going to talk about a lot of interesting backend development topics in Spring Boot, right from the beginner level to the very advanced level. We're going to start with basics of what is a build system. We'll start learning about what are basics of databases, what are basics of Spring Boot, and slowly and steadily we'll move to advanced topics like how you can actually implement distributed transactions using the saga design pattern, be it the choreography saga or the orchestration saga. We are going to talk about the design aspects of some of the very interesting projects, including making a distributed wallet, including making an Airbnb based backend booking system. We are going to talk about how you can actually play around with geospatial indexes and how you can make an Uber booking application altogether and whatnot. There's going to be a lot of important topics that are very frequently used in day-to-day backend engineering job, which will actually help you to get the idea of what exactly it looks like to develop these kind of like scalable applications. So if you want to turn up your portfolio into an absolute Spring Boot beast, then do check out the link in the description section below and use this coupon code to get maximum discount off on the cohort. And I'm really excited for you to join the cohort as well. So let's just resume back to the video. Okay. There are two, again, repeating, there are two ways in which you can look at this problem. In how many ways from 0 to 4 you can reach, or in how many ways from 4 to 0 you can reach. It's the same thing. Okay. So for reaching from 4 to 0, you have three choices because it's a 3 length array that you subtract 1 from it, you subtract 2 from it, you subtract 3 from it. If you subtracted 1 from it, you have 3, 2, 1. Can I say that? Now again, same thing. You have three choices. You subtract 1 from it, 2 from it, 3 from it. This gives you 2, this gives you 1, this gives you 0. And can I say, the moment you landed up at 0, what will happen? This is one possible solution. Can I say that? You found one possible solution. Okay. Now, here you only have two choices because you cannot do -3, otherwise it will reach negative. Okay. So you can do -1 and -2. If you do -1, you reach 1. If you do -2, you reach 0. Can you see you found one more path? Okay. Then here you can only do -1. If you do -1, you reach 0. Can you see you found one more path? Okay. So every path that we are finding, I'll mark it as a green symbol. Wherever you land up at 0, the moment your target becomes 0, you have a path, or you can say you have a combination. Okay, cool. Let's move ahead. Here again, you have two choices. Here you have one choice, here you have one choice. What are the two choices? You can do -1, -2. Yes, this is -1, -1, 0, 0. This is 0, this is 1. And then here you have a choice -1 to reach 0. And you can see few more choices we got. How many choices we total got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 choices we got, right? So can you see what we are doing here? We start from the target, and whatever are the values that we can subtract from it, right? So that the value is less than or equal to 0, we do it. If the value so that the value is greater than or equal to 0, we do it. If the value becomes less than 0, we don't want it. For example, by subtracting 3 from 1, we will get a -2. We don't need this because we want to reduce the target to 0. And can you see these are the total set of combinations that you have, right? So can I say the moment your target becomes 0, you found one combination? See, this is one combination. 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 One more combination and one more combination. Can I say that? So the moment your target becomes 0, you found one combination. Can I say that? So we can say that if, let's say, if we write a function f of target, and let's say this function returns number of ways to prepare combinations for the given target. Okay. If we are able to implement this function properly, what will be our final answer? In this particular case, our final answer could have been f of 4. That was original target, right? And now, what will you do? What will you do? You will say that f of target is going to be equal to what? F of target minus array of 0 plus f of target minus array of 1 plus, and so on, f of target minus array of n minus 1. Can I say that? Why? Because if we are assuming that f of target will be the function that will give us the number of ways, then f of target minus ARR of 0 will give us the number of ways to reach from this point to 0. Can I say that? For example, we wanted to calculate f of 4. If somehow we know in how many ways we can make the target 3, plus in how many ways we can make the target 2, plus in how many ways we can make the target 1. Can I say I will add all of them up to get in how many ways we can make the target 4? See, to make the target 3, you have 4 ways. To make the target 2, you have 2 ways. To make the target 1, you have 1 way. If you add all of them up, you will get answer as 7. So if you want to calculate f of 4, you are dependent on f of 4 minus 1, f of 4 minus 2, f of 4 minus 3, and so on. Can I say that? Considering all of these values are what? Greater than 0, right? So what can be a shorthand to write this? I can write in a simpler way. I can write it like this. F of target is equals to summation of f of target minus ARR of k, right? Where k belongs to the region 0 to n minus 1 and target minus ARR of k is greater than or equal to 0, right? Can I say this is going to be our recurrence relation? As simple as that. Direct application of coin change. Okay, and again, just looking at this tree, we can figure this out. That if we wanted to get the answer of f of 4, just give me the answer of f of ARR of 0, f of 4 minus ARR of 0, f of 4 minus ARR of 1, f of 4 minus ARR of 2, and so on. And I'll just combine all of them up. And what will be our base case? What will be our base case? If target is equals to 0, that means you have target becoming equal to 0. The answer is going to be 1. That is, you found one possible combination. You found one possible combination altogether. As simple as that. So we'll just code this solution and we will be done with it, right? So I hope the overall logic of the problem, at least in the recursive fashion, is making sense to everyone. Okay. Now, interestingly, if you carefully see, In order to identify state of the subproblem, we just need one variable, right? That is the value of the target. Array doesn't change. Only the target value is changing. And you can identify this with the recurrence relation as well. So you just have one variable that is actually helping us to identify the state of the subproblem. Hence, the maximum size DP that we will need is a 1D DP. Okay. And how many unique subproblems we will be having? The number of unique subproblems will be what? Target plus 1. Because you can see you have 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Can I say there are only 5 unique subproblems for target is equals to 4? Yes or no? The rest everything is repeating. For example, this part and this part is repeating. This part and this part is repeating. Can I say that? Everything is repeating, right? So what are the unique subproblems? Only 5 subproblems are unique. That is target plus 1. Okay. So if you want to code this solution, I'll just keep the recurrence relation alive. Okay. I'll say public static int f. I'll say target. I'll make a global array nums or public static int arr. Let's keep. And I'll initialize arr with the given nums. And then just simple things. If target becomes 0, return 1. That's the base case. Otherwise, you go from 0 to n minus 1. See, k goes from 0 to n minus 1. So for int k equals to 0, k less than. Let's calculate the value of n. Int n is equals to arr dot length. K less than n minus 1, k plus plus. Oh, sorry, not n minus 1, k less than n, k plus plus. Okay. If target minus arr of k is greater than equal to 0, if target minus arr of k is greater than or equal to 0, what we are going to do is we are going to have a result. Int result is equals to 0. Result plus equals to f of, because we have to sum, right? We have to sum up. So we'll just say result plus equals to f of target minus arr. At last, we will return the result. That's it. What is our final answer? Our final answer is f of target. If I run the code, you can see the basic test case passes, right? Now let's initialize a DP array. Public static int. We just need a 1D DP array. How big we should keep it? Let's keep it of the maximum limit. Target can be as big as 1000, right? So I'll keep it 1005 maybe. Okay. And we will initialize it. Arrays dot fill DP with -1. We'll initialize everything with -1. And here, before we compute, we will check if DP of target is not equal to -1, return DP of target. See, pretty simple. Otherwise, we'll just store the value. Let's run the code, submit, and you can see in one single shot we are able to submit the problem. How cool is that, right? Nothing else we have done. Exactly whatever I wrote here, summation we have to do. So we keep a sum variable. We keep on doing the sum for only those values which are greater than equal to 0. That's it. That's how you can actually solve the problem for combination sum 4. Now, what is the time complexity of this problem? The time complexity of this problem is going to be how many unique states we are going to compute. The number of unique states that we are going to compute is going to be what? Target plus 1. Can I say that? Number of unique recursive calls that we are going to compute is target plus 1. And in each recursive call, in each unique recursive call, you have a for loop of size n. So can I say the time complexity is going to be order of n into target? And you can see what's the maximum value of n? 200. What's the maximum value of the target? 1000. 200 into 1000 is 10 raised to the power 5. So you can see this solution submits pretty well, right? So the time complexity is order of n into target. If you want to implement a bottom-up solution, all we have to figure out is that in which order we should build up the solution. Now just think about it. In order to get the answer for target, we need to have the answer of everything less than the target, right? For example, if you want to get the answer of 4, you need to have the answer of 3, 2, 1. In order to get the answer of 3, you need to have answer of 2, 1, 0, right? So you need to have the answer of everything less than the target. So I'll say public static int FBU. I'll pass a target. Okay. And then we'll be having a DP array initialized, right? We have this DP array initialized here. We don't need to fill it with -1. What we will say is that in order to get the answer of the original target, we need to get the answer of everything less than the target, right? So I will say given target. So I'll say for int target is equals to 0, right? Target less than or equal to the given target. Target plus plus. Can I say that? In this order only we should prepare our solution. In this order only we should prepare our solution, that in order to get the answer of the given target, we need to have the answer of everything less than the given target. So we start from left to right, so that we get the answer of 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we can get the answer of 4. And then you know how to get the answer of any particular target, right? You say if target is equals to 0, return 1. Instead of return 1, what do we say? DP of target is equals to 1. Can I say that? Right? Okay. Else you calculate the length of the array. You calculate a result variable. Copy everything from here. Paste it here. See? Instead of F, I'll say DP of target minus ARR of K. And at last, I will say this. That's it. And what's our final answer? Our final answer was F of given of the given target, right? So I'll say return DP of given target. So now let's call F of BU. FBU. Run the code. You can see it works. If I submit, boom, done. You don't have to keep on making tables and everything. You already have built the top-down solution. If you have built the top-down solution, you just figure out in what order you need to build up the sub-problems. If you have figured out the order, then just implement it and write whatever code you have as it is. No problem at all.